Warhammer and miniature hobbies are perfect opportunities to express your creativity and imagination. You can paint, build, kitbash, or even convert models to suit your every whim. That's why I've decided to kitbash an entire army for Age of Sigmar. I want something that's going to be specific to me and have a little bit of creativity with it. At the time of recording this video, the Kruleboyz army had just been released, and I was super inspired to start a brand new army, as we all usually are. I'd been out of Age of Sigmar scene for quite a while, since roughly about the first edition's premiere, and I just wanted to dive in head first. Although I love the new Kruleboyz models, I felt as though I needed to challenge myself by creating something unique. After a little while, I finally came up with my army's theme. I was going to convert an entire army of death-themed Kruleboyz, appropriately named the Soul Boys. To get the ball rolling, I wanted to tackle a model that I had been eyeing off for ages, the Dankhold Troggoth. Although not a Kruleboyz model, it will start the army off very nicely. This is actually one of my favorite model kits, and I've wanted to create something that could stand as a centerpiece in the army, as either a general or just something that looked really cool. As with any conversion, I started by clipping out the main bits required to build the body. So you'll find that with a lot of my conversions, I didn't actually go into this with much of a plan. I find that having more of a free-form idea can make the conversion more fun, but often more difficult. Once these bits were all clipped out, I made sure to do all the appropriate cleanup, removing any sprue tabs and cleaning up any mold lines that I could see. Seeing as a weapon is one of the first things that draws your eye, I wanted to heavily convert it in a way that would convey the death theme. I was inspired by the Nighthaunt range from Games Workshop, and I felt like it would fit into the role of, say, an executioner. He's big, he's meaty, and that axe would go straight through somebody's neck. As most of the range tends to feature axes, I thought it would be an excellent opportunity to incorporate that in. I scrounged through my bits box and I found this axe from the Bloodthirster kit. Personally, I built mine with the whips and other axe, so this was a perfect opportunity to use the two-handed one in this kit. The scale matched up nicely, but as it was, it lent much more into the chaos theme. To counter this, I started by shaving off the majority of the corn symbol. I just used my hobby knife and gently went over it. We don't want to go too deep because we'll scar the part and that won't look very good. I then went in with a fine grit sanding pad and cleaned up the last of the symbol. One huge challenge I faced with the conversion revolved around the theme of death. I had to make sure that I was careful with my design decisions. If I made the model too decayed and fleshy, it would look more akin to a Nurgle model, and if I added too many spikes, armor panels, and sharp bits, I felt like it would run the risk of looking more like a servant of chaos. After experimenting in my head, I did find a happy medium, and that has helped guide me through the whole army right now. Once complete, I set the axe to the side and decided to build the main body. This would give me a good idea of where I could situate other bits and bobs. After finishing the majority of the body assembly, I felt like it was lacking something. To help bulk out its silhouette, I decided to try adding a decayed belly and a ramshackle chestplate, really tie into the orky sort of theme. The belly came in the form of a biosac from a Tyranid Carnifex kit. I had to clip it away from the main gun assembly and file down the dangly bit so that it would fit in nicely. Although it would look strange at first, I plan on coming back later with some green stuff. The chestplate was pretty straightforward. The ever useful Bloodthirster kit at this point would come to save the day once again. Using the chestplate, I filed it down in a similar manner to the axe, but this time I made sure to create some harsh edges. This guy is still a Troggoth, and I'm pretty sure they're not the finest craftsmen. After gluing those parts together into the chest and the stomach area, it was time to focus on his axe. I snipped the peg off the original weapon and cleaned up the connection point. Now it was just a matter of gluing the axe head to the handle, and now it's ready to go. Our Troggoth is not very useful without a head, so I attached that next. Off camera, I did add some sprues into the gap between the stomach. I plan on returning to this later with some green stuff, and wanted to reduce the amount that I'd need. Now, he was looking pretty mean, but I wanted to add a little something extra that would pack a punch. That came in the form of these awesome horns. These particular bits are the Haim, yes, I did have to Google that, from a Chaos Chariot kit. If you choose to make the Gore Beast variation, it will leave you with this cool piece. In this scenario, I thought they'd make excellent horns. I cleaned up all the sprue tabs from the shoddy job I did before, and dry fitted them against the head. As is, I wouldn't be able to attach them properly due to the little bar that holds them together. So I carefully cut this off using a hobby blade and cleaned up the excess. As is, I could glue them directly to the head, but I would risk them breaking off as there isn't much to reinforce the joint. To fix this, I just grabbed some 1mm polystyrene rod and drilled holes into each piece. Doing so helped strengthen the joint and giving me a bit of peace of mind. Polystyrene rod is an excellent choice for this situation as it is plastic and will firmly bond to it instead of just sticking with superglue. The final step needed to finish off this model involved a little bit of green stuff. I first started by mixing a large amount and began applying it just straight into the belly area. I moved it all into place with my sculpting tool, and once I was happy with the position, I began sculpting some wrinkles and folds so that it looked like the stomach was sagging and slightly decaying. I did also quickly apply some green stuff to the neck area, as you can see, just so that it would be a little bit smoother and bulkier, as I thought his head looked a little weird. Now when it comes to green stuff and gaps, I'm pretty bad at keeping them smooth. So my trick is I grab some Tamiya lacquer thinner and some Tamiya putty so that I could make a gap filler. I mixed this roughly at a 1:1 to create a very thick paste, and then proceeded to apply it all over the connection points and the green stuff. This helps smooth out the imperfections or fingerprints that have left in the green stuff, and it tends to blend the conversions in quite nicely as you don't get those harsh edges. I did some fiddling around and added a few little extra pieces off camera. These just help complement the model and they're not huge changes. That then left me with something looking a little like this. I'm impressed with how this model turned out overall. I didn't go into it with a very clear vision, but I felt like I had married it together nicely. My favorite part has to be his huge axe. It just turned out so much better than I thought, and I'm really proud of it. If you do like this style of video and you'd like to suggest any ideas that you have, I'd love to hear about them in the comment section down below. I'm always looking for new ideas and would love to see what you guys can input. I'm hopefully going to be posting some videos more frequently now. As you can see, there tends to be a few months between my videos, but fingers crossed I'll be able to get on top of that. So ladies and gentlemen, make sure to keep your eyes peeled for the new videos. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and happy wargaming everyone.